So, okay, folks, so we're about to have way too much fun. Number one, we need to talk updates on the hottest plays, including squeezers, AMC, and a new runner. Number two, we need to talk about a timid Charlie play that is finally starting to redeem itself and break out of its timid little shell. And then the main entree, we need to talk about a big catalyst that is coming within the next 24 hours. And the only thing that I ask in return for all of this is that you hit that ravishing like button, and also don't forget to subscribe either. Okay, let's go ahead and start with Rocket Lab, ticker symbol RKLB. Now, this is a beautiful rocket launching company that has been launching not just their rockets into space, but also apparently launching their stock price as well. And this morning before today's run, I said, multi-runner that received analyst upgrades, revenue increases, and yesterday landed a big new deal, likely to have more inflows over the next couple of weeks, based on trend and company guidelines. And that push of inflows certainly came a lot faster than expected today. But let me elaborate for a second. This company has quietly been brewing up a storm for weeks, and yesterday it blew everyone away on their earnings. They reported their backlog of orders grew from 59 million to 141 million, which is almost 3xing in just a year. But if you actually add everything up to the most recent report on August 31st, the company reported 174 million in backlog. Why are they backlogging so many orders, Charlie? Well, this is because they've had a string of really successful missions. Like the US Space Force mission just recently on July 29th, their deployment of their 100th satellite, their second successful recovery of their booster, reusing crucial parts of rockets is paramount to having a successful rocket launching company. If you want to keep expenses reasonable. And truth be told, Rocket Lab right now is really just starting to rise in prominence due to its extensive track record. People were avoiding it before because, SPAC, scary. Now that it's reporting results, it's become the latest momentum play. They also have an analyst day coming up tomorrow on the 10th with Deutsche Bank. Ja, Deutsche, which should mean more coverage from the analysts and more thinking about it over the weekend. But projections, now that it's already run up a lot, well, rocket companies tend to trade like the rockets they make. Go up as quickly as they go down. Rocket companies are always one bad launch away from having a plummet of share price. For folks who follow Astra, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So my take is if you are a momentum trader, hey, trade the fluctuations. But if you're a high conviction trader, wait until the next period of FUD comes out and snap yourself up a good deal. Okay, so CEI, on Tuesday morning, we said CEI enjoys gap up in pre-market to near previous session resistance. Can it break past that and continue its momentum run from last week? It has followed a lovely and strong stair-step pattern during the selective risk on days we've seen, which of course I was insinuating is the pattern going to continue, and the answer that CEI gave was an astounding yes. The pattern continued this week and it's continued to run, today up more than 30% at highs. And not only that, but with today's run, you actually have short interest up 40% just today, according to Ortex. The sheer level of aggressiveness that we've seen with short sellers these days is not just hilarious, but it's also kind of cute. Like a little child that's angry and having a temper tantrum and can't get his way, so he just makes things worse. Somebody sent me an actual clip of a short seller reacting to CEI's update today. Wah! Atter had another good day today, not much new. Shorts increasing their positions into the uptrend, continuing an overall upward push. I'm expecting some cooling off. Wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of a breath. That would be healthy. Okay, next, you never guess what stock the Motley Fool wants you to sell today. Well, of course, Ooga Booga AMC. The sheer amount of times that the Motley Fool, as well as a lot of other outlets, to be honest, have run articles like this is insane. Once again, didn't mention anything about a short squeeze because why would they? That's only the main reason that people are buying it. I honestly don't understand who clicks these. If you're somebody that hates AMC, you don't need to hear the same damn story that AMC struggled during the pandemic. Movie theater audiences are dwindling. Popcorn is going out of style. People don't like popcorn because it has butter on it and butter is morally wrong. But anyways, AMC Ooga Booga making yet another attempt at breaking into the 50s, but it just can't seem to get past that resistance. That's about a lick below the $50 line. And we've been speculating on the significance of $50 since basically its first attempt to break it back on the 24th. And it's continued to make attempts, but it hasn't been able to do it. We've talked about the theory of controlled uptrends, which allows for designated areas where sell attacks take place in order to keep buying pressure restrained within a certain channel. And in terms of evidence for that, this is about as good as it gets. If you're a short seller short AMC right now, you do not want this to go above 50. You are willing to take short-term red paper losses and keep them in your portfolio as long as you need to in order to get people to go home. And from your perspective, hopefully they go home soon. But the minute you start getting higher and higher channels is the minute you get more and more exponential risk. So I don't know, I'd hate to see what would happen if this broke above 50. That would be a show. Okay, so Gevo. Now Gevo finally had a period of redemption today with a new partnership with Chevron, which led Gevo to growing faster than green grass through a goose, up over 40% at highs. Gevo will operate its proprietary technology to produce sustainable aviation fuel and renewable blending components for motor gasoline to lower its life cycle carbon intensity. Spark notes Gevo is being used by Chevron to make aviation fuel more clean. Fantastico. Endorsement of the technology, big win in terms of a partner for Gevo. Chevron's a Goliath. And a great selling point for Gevo to get more partnerships. Started liking it around 10, 11 bucks, and it dipped even more. We started liking it even more. I made a price target of $18, $20, and it went down as low as $4 to $5. And I still said that I liked it and I thought it was worth averaging down. We've held conviction this whole time, and the price target has stayed consistent in our price targets tab in the Discord. It certainly still has a ways to go. It's a very active play. But I think the lesson here, at least for me, is that you need to be very, very patient when it comes to your high conviction plays. We did the work in the beginning of this year, and we saw basically what Chevron saw in Gevo, but the rest of the market just wasn't having it. So I think that when it comes to the market, you have to have a certain level of humility and patience, especially when it comes to your time horizon. My take is that pretty much every stock that you'll ever like is going to have long periods where it does nothing or it sells off. And the only real failure with those is not trusting your own research and your own due diligence, and instead just trusting what the hedge funds, Wall Street, and the overall market condition wants you to think the company is worth. Specifically for people who want to have high conviction plays. Obviously right now we're in what's called the trader's market, where things run up not based on fundamentals at all, or based on whether it's a good company. They run up based on the greater fool theory, which is a mean way of saying other people are buying it, so you're buying it, and you're trying to anticipate waves of more and more buyers, which largely is driven by squeeze rallies right now in anticipation on that. But it also oftentimes can be driven by catalysts of other sorts, FDA approvals, earnings, so on and so forth. Okay, so now it's time for what you need to get ready for. So tomorrow, SPRT will finally be having that merger vote. And you saw an 18% rally at highs today in anticipation of that. But the real question is, will it squeeze shorts, or will it have a buy the rumor, sell the news effect? Well, I don't have a crystal ball, but hear me out. Short interest on this right now is ridiculous. Some of the highest in the industry. Shorts are so hungry on this that they're gobbling up every short they can find. And probably more than that if we're being honest. And you know what I mean. You've seen the reversal in SPRT be met with an acceleration of short selling, with current estimated short interest hovering at over 86%. Last week we were talking about how 70% was huge. Now we're at 86%. What? Now remember why this matters. If this rallies enough, these shorts are going to be in a rush to buy shares. And right now there's very close to 1 share short for every 1 share in the free float. Now, does that mean that they have to cover? Absolutely not. They can play the defer game for quite a long time, as we know. But the thing is, if you get enough buying pressure, some of the lower average shorts are going to get very, very tense. If you're short this at like 10 or 7 or $5, and this goes up to 30 or 40, the risk of getting margin called goes through the roof. But at the same time, there's 2 different types of short sellers here. And again, the older, lower price shorts are the ones that are a lot more desperate here. If you just added to your short position or just started a short position at $20 or $25, well, you can afford it to go to 30 or 35 without having that high of a risk of getting margin called. But if you're at 6, you're at 5, this is a much, much more desperate picture. Short sellers, for the most part, are right here. In the long run, it's going to go down. It's going to go down hard. But they may not even be able to continue to hold their short position if their average is so low that they're forced to cover because of margin calls before that ever goes back down. Now that being said, what's going to happen tomorrow exactly? Well, if 50% of SPRT shareholders approve the vote, then they will merge with Greenidge, which is a crypto mining company. If you want me to say predictions, I'd say that there's less risk prior to the vote than there is after the vote. The two outcomes are the vote passes or the vote doesn't pass. If the vote passes, there's a strong probability that people buy the rumor and sell the news. If the vote doesn't happen or they delay it because they couldn't get enough shareholders to vote, which is something we've seen in a lot of other stocks, well, then the stock goes down. So I would say the stock is favored to sell off after the news. Short sellers may increase their positions. They may feel like they're right. They may sleep soundly over the weekend. But then post-merger vote and post-merger is when you start seeing a show. If the new combined entity can hold a high price, all while still having incredibly high short interest, and also while having much more heightened retail interest, well, I would argue that the best is yet to come. My thought process is that whatever happens tomorrow, this story isn't over. Anyways, folks, that caps off the video. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us below or join us on ZipTrader Circle. If you'd like to learn how to trade with our step-by-step lessons, our private chat, and of course our daily morning briefings where we brief on all the latest catalysts each and every market open morning, well, I'll go ahead and put a link to ZipTrader U below. Coupon code FUDSTOPPER50 will get you 50 bucks off before checkout. If you're wondering what broker to trade these stocks on, well, we like to send new traders over to Webull. They have incredibly fast executions, a great platform, and they're pretty easy to use for new traders as well. They'll also give you 2 free stocks when you sign up and deposit just $5 using our link below. So go ahead and check them out if you are broker curious. Anyways, folks, that caps off this video, and I'll see you in the next one.